Germany's economy before World War I until today.
Here at Crash Course, we try to make history reasonably entertaining. I mean, think about it. All these world wars are like small children having a huge fight, blown way out of proportion.
Hey, we are not the ones that started the war.
That's a good point. Well, anyways, what were we talking about?
How the World War were just like kids. Like us.
Oh yeah, thank you, child. Well, Germany's economy from World War I until today had its ups and downs. Just in case you didn't know your ups and downs.
That was funny, I like that!
Thank you. I know, very entertaining, like I said. Germany's economy
Hi, I'm Jane, also known as the bratty child, but I prefer that you called me Awesomeness. Because, you know, I'm just so freaking awesome. It's actually crazy how awesome I am.
Germany's economy before World War I. It was a sunny day in Germany when suddenly an avalanche came flying in from space and destroyed the whole country. No, just kidding. Let me tell you the real story. So, before World War I, Germany was imperialistic, militaristic, and autocratic, in attempts to become more powerful, of course. Basically, a nation struggling to assert its place in the world. Everyone dreamed of a united Germany, its people infused with patriotism. Well, not that kind of patriotism, turn off the light yet. Anyways, a country where its government was maimed by decisive leaders, and its economy at the technological forefront of the world. If only they had these back then, life would be so much easier.
Where they like rich?
Yes, in fact, Germany was a rich country. Germany rode an economic and technological boom for most of the late 1800s. Their economy grew, there were more developments in technology, and as a result, banking and capital grew. More German banks formed and grew quickly, and this provided new ventures to have more investments and credit. With its large and rapidly growing population, Germany was able to meet the labor needs of industrialization. Germany's economy during World War I.
During World War I, Germany's economy collapsed. Yeah, thank you, Thought Bubble. It was like a house. It was strong, but then it collapsed. The war began on August 3rd, 1939. But it actually started by September. Germany entered the war only because it asked Russia not to mobilize its soldiers. But of course Russia didn't listen. So Germany declared war on Russia just to protect Austria and Hungary.
That was totally Russians' fault, like really? They are just stupid.
Okay, child, I know everybody has their opinion, but no, we're doing this crash course thing. You don't have to say it here. Whatever. So Germany only lost the war because it fought on two fronts. And a German soldier explains how terrible the situation was for them.
German soldier during World War I.
Their faces coated with dust, their uniforms in rags, looking like living scarecrows. They marched with their eyes closed, singing in chorus so they shall not fall asleep. It is only the delirium of victory that sustains our men.
Was the Schlieffen Plan like a plan to destroy the whole world?
Not exactly. The Schlieffen Plan was a plan for Germany to invade all the European countries and then come out victorious. But the Schlieffen Plan failed because the plan relied on quick movement, but the resistance of Belgium prevented this. Also, Russia mobilized troops quicker than expected, and Germany had to switch troops away from Western Europe to fight on the Russian invasion. This led to Germany's economy to start going downhill. Scene 4 is not feeling that well. We are very sorry.
Germany's economy after World War I. Hitler's uprising. After World War I ended, Germany was in ruins. Not only physically from the war they had just fought, but also their economy was in ruins and was a disaster. This gave any powerful leader with charisma and the ability to save Germany's economy a huge advantage. Hitler, the charismatic leader. Did you know that I was the Time magazine's Man of the Year for 1938? Hitler's rise to power cannot be attributed to one event. Not only was Germany in complete ruins at the time, but there had also been a mixture of events happening outside of Germany. The government was in complete chaos. With all the economic troubles going on, President Hindenburg dismissed Brüning in 1932. His replacement, Peipen, who lasted only 6 months. The next chancellor was Schleicher, who even better, only lasted 2 months. In January 1933, Hindenburg and Peipen came up with a plan to get the Nazis on their side. Their plan, which by the way was horrible, was to offer to make Hitler vice-chancellor, although they clearly did not realize who they were dealing with, because Hitler refused and demanded to be made chancellor. Again, stupidly, they agreed, thinking they can control him. Finally, in January 1933, Hitler became Chancellor of Germany and immediately set about making himself absolute ruler of Germany. In 1933, Hitler legitimately gained the power to become Chancellor. So let's look at why Hitler came into power. Hitler's rise to power can be attributed to the fact that he was a great speaker, which gave him the power to make people support him. At the time, the moderate political parties would not work together, although, together, they had more support than the Nazis. The Depression of 1929 created poverty and unemployment. This made people angry with the Weimar government. People also lost confidence in the democratic system and turned towards the extremist political parties such as the Communists and the Nazis during the Depression. The Nazi stormtroopers attacked Hitler's opponent. Also, Goebbels' propaganda campaign was very effective. And support for the Nazis, and the Nazis targeted specific groups of society with different slogans and policies to win their support. Hitler was given power in a seedy political deal by Hindenburg and Peipen, who foolishly thought they could control him. Also, German people were still angry about the Treaty of Versailles and supported Hitler because he promised to overturn it. Therefore, industrialists gave Hitler money and support. Germany's economy during World War II.
When Hitler was elected, Germany's economy was a mess. No, not a mess, but yes, Germany was totally a mess. Hitler made propaganda, which played on the nation's fear of no hope, which was a huge problem. And also another one, unemployment reached 6 million at the end of Weimar Republic. Hitler actually made a miracle to change how much unemployment was in Germany. Nah, I'm just joking. But yes, the real reason why unemployment in Germany dropped was mainly because of 3 reasons.
But the real reason of what made unemployment in Germany dropped was because women were no longer included in the statistics of the unemployed. 2, the unemployed people were given very simple choices. Do whatever work is given to you by the government, and if you're work shy and don't really want to work, then you'll be put into concentration camps.
Let's do a So excited! What do we got here? From the Jewish historian Richard Greenberger. He tells me that he writes in his book from the 12-year Reich. He's telling me that because unemployment dropped, Germany's economy was very good. So he says, and I'm going to say it in his voice, yes, because I did speak to him and I did see him.
In 3 years, between 1939 and 1942, German industry expanded as much as it had during the preceding 50 years.
I think that's it. Yeah. That was nice. Wow.
Germany's economy rebuilding. Post-World War II's recovery was an insane time. There were economic problems, near-famine conditions, and factories were in complete ruins. The occupation authorities in the American, British, and French zones kept the economic policies of the Nazis in place. There were price controls, rent controls, wage controls, and extensive general regulation of the economy. Although the regulation of the economy was not an ideal situation, loosening up the controls brought up the problem of the expansion of the money supply. The food situation after the war was a complete disaster. Warning: the following video contains graphic and disturbing images of severe injustice. Viewer discretion is advised. Even before the war, Germans began planning to destroy millions of people by starving them to death. And they did just that, although not nearly as many as they hoped to starve, primarily because the Weimar failed to destroy the Red Army. However, karma had it that at the end of the war, it was the Germans who were hungry. The food situation began to deteriorate in the late 1944, before the Nazi collapse and the end of the war. The Allies, when occupying Germany, did not intend to starve the German people. There was a widespread conviction, however, that the German people should be made to experience the conditions that they had imposed on the people during the war. However, this was never entirely done. Let's talk about Germany's industry. Germany's industrial infrastructure would have to be essentially rebuilt from scratch. Most observers at the time thought that it would take more than a generation to rebuild, although what had not been destroyed was the industrial expertise and intellectual talent. In the end, this proved more important than all the destroyed factories. And Germany, in just a few years, took hold and had the most modern industrial base in the world. Germany's economy.
Today, Germany has benefited the world in many ways. For example, it shares information and technological advancements with the whole world. For example, its inventions.
In 1971, they made an airbag. In 1997, they made a prosthetic leg, which is an artificial leg. In 1998, they made EcoFlex plastic, which is very good for our environment. In 1990, they made a radio-controlled watch, which is actually very cool. In 2002, they made twin elevators, which is actually very good for twins. Video overview.
Before World War I, Germany's economy was thriving and there were many new developments in technology.
During World War I, Germany's economy collapsed and the Schleifen Plan failed.
After World War I, Germany's economy was a disaster which gave Hitler an advantage to come into power and save the economy.
During World War II, Hitler lowered the unemployment rates and brought the economy back up.
After World War II, Germany was in economic ruins again, and observers at the time thought it would take more than a generation to rebuild.
Today, Germany benefits the world in many ways. For example, they share their technological advancements with the world.
Okay, we're on.
Wait, I don't have my script. Did you get my script? Hello.
Thank you, child. Wait, I don't have my glasses.
Let's do it again.
Pause it. A nation struggling to...
Hitler actually made a...
With its large and...
Germany entered the war.
Germany's a... And Germany, in just a few... I don't know my lines.
Why didn't you tell me that?
Yeah, I just burped.
No, not a best mess, but...
Wait, pause it.
Are you kidding me?
I just yawned. Wait. Pause it.